Welcome to Moxie Uncut. I'm your host, Jenny Nuccio, social entrepreneur, designer, innovator, and founder of Amani Collective. This season is all about reset. Real stories, the ones that don't make it into the captions. Failure, pivots, burnouts, heartbreaks, and the quiet courage to just begin again. Each week, I sit down with entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers that are building with purpose. We talk about the resets that shaped them, the lessons that they learned the hard way, and the strength that found them on the other side. If you're in a season of rebuilding or redesigning, you're not alone. You're right where you need to be. So let's dig in. Welcome to Moxie Uncut.
Thank you.
This is the reset season. So this season is all about change and pivots, what it means to recalibrate, what it means to restart. And really in this podcast specifically, even from the genesis in the beginning, we really just talk about real stories and who we are.
Yeah.
It started, actually, it was focused on women entrepreneurs in Mombasa when I started 2019, and we met in my small little space. You could hear like the tuk-tuks in the background and all of that. So I think we've upgraded a little bit since then. But just welcome to the podcast. So before we get started, I would love for people, if they don't know already, to say who you are. Sure. So what are you best known for? And if you could tell our audience that.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for having me. Congratulations on continuously growing. It's not easy to have a podcast and to continue to scale it. So kudos to you. My name is Pinky Ghelani. I am a media personality. I have a platform called What Women Want Africa. And it's basically bringing women together to network, to grow, to find themselves, to communicate, have conversations, and to just remind themselves that showing up authentically is actually the best way to show up.
Mm. And that's why you're sitting in this chair, because our values are very aligned to that.
Totally.
So before we even dive a little bit deeper, I do a quick cut. So this is like a rapid fire.
Oh, I love
like this or that.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready? It's not too hard, I promise.
Ready.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Podcast or silence?
Ooh.
That's hard. And
silence.
I know, me too when I'm a podcast. Morning person or night builder?
I'm a morning person.
Big vision or detailed executor?
Detailed executor.
And what's one small habit that keeps you grounded?
I think literally grounding, like barefoot on the grass.
I agree.
Yeah.
When you fly into places, do you ever like just go straight to the grass?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
It's so important. Or if it's, where you're from, it's dip in the ocean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Feet on the sand.
Next time you come, you'll have to visit.
Yeah, of course.
But okay, so reset. As I've had guests come in and out, I feel like reset can happen in a lot of seasons. So it can happen on mountaintop moments. It also can happen in our lowest moments. So if you were to define reset, how would you define that?
I think reset is something that you need to continuously do. I'm finding that what we as women especially are doing is living in fight or flight. So we're forgetting to reset. Mm-hmm. Regulating the nervous system is something that we really need to do, especially as we're getting older or even before, so that when you do hit this perimenopause, menopause stage of your life, you're kind of okay, because women are going bananas because they've either had a lot of trauma that they've not dealt with. They've been entrepreneurs that they've always had to be on the go. Even, being employed is something that is stressful. So you're meeting deadlines, you're continuously on call, and we've forgotten how to just stop. Mm-hmm. So, if you're not doing anything, you're useless. However, that's, I'm going to ask you to reframe that and say that if you're not doing anything, you're resting or resetting.
Yeah, I feel like we don't give ourselves, especially in the entrepreneurial world, give ourselves enough grace to be able to be like, okay, I can take a day.
Yeah, or an hour.
Yeah.
Or, an hour in the evening, an hour in the morning. Mm-hmm. I think we've really forgotten how to do that. And when we're not on the go, we feel we're missing out or we're useless.
Mm-hmm. Let's backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
Because I think also, and know this in seasons when we're younger, how we view ourselves and our identity as we grow. I was just having a conversation with a friend with, believe you know, Ruxar, and we were talking about just her growth. I've known her since she was 15, so I've been kind of a mentor.
Yeah, Mombasa is also a small town.
Yes, and I've been a mentor to her. So we were just talking about her changes also in her leadership. But I think when we look back and we look at our maturity and what that looks like, where is a season in your life where you saw yourself, your younger version, start to pivot in a new way to take on maybe a new identity, where you're almost like a shedding of skin and wanting to take a new track?
I think when I left radio, because, you know, a lot of times when you are in such a space where you get a lot of attention, you tend to let that identify, like that becomes your identity. That's who you are. I am XYZ of so-and-so radio station. And it was how I introduced myself for a very long time. And it would open doors for me. You know, I'd call the British High Commission and be like, hi, it's Pinky Ghelani from Capital FM. Boom, get an appointment or, you know, meet the High Commissioner. And once I left radio, I really had to, well, before I left radio, I had to make peace with the fact that I won't have that as a crutch. So who is Pinky Ghelani? And would she still be able to open doors irrespective of who she's employed by? So that was something that I needed to shed, you know, that identity of being a radio presenter, but being very passionate about using my voice and continuing to do that no matter where I am.
When you left radio, were you a mother yet? What did that?
No.
Okay.
No, I wasn't a mom. I wasn't even married.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got married. Then, you know, the journey of motherhood began, which was quite challenging. And it was, you know, during those times that I became the editor of Drum magazine. I was invited back to Capital FM as the breakfast presenter, something that I never took up. But, you know, it was just very interesting. And also, when you become a mother, how your priorities change.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. Because I'm a mother as well and have 3 kids. And I find that even being here in Nairobi, right, I prioritizing to be here and spend time with people and think of the littles and the poetry my daughter is presenting today and all the, you know, all these different things. So what did that, I want to give some practical tips, especially for new entrepreneurs, but also seasoned. How did that, again, shift for you in the fact of having to reset your mind? Because I think there are some moments where I can look back and almost felt obviously like a failure in different hats that I was wearing.
Yeah.
So what are some tools or some things that you did in your life to get past that a little bit and to reframe different hats you were wearing?
When I became a mom, I understood the fact that when they're very little, they need me.
Yeah.
And I would drop everything for them. Like work took a complete backseat, you know, it was not something. And also because when you do become a mother, you secretly birth something called guilt.
Yep.
Right? Nobody tells you about this. So guilt just hangs around there. And anything, like even a trip to the supermarket, you're like, oh my God, my baby, okay. So also then, you know, learning to understand that in every phase of their lives, they're going to need me. But also there are moments where, you know, they're oblivious to the fact that mama's even in the room. And kids are very resilient. So trying to not lose myself, because I heard a lot of women, oh, you know, you're going to lose yourself, or you lose yourself in motherhood, or you know, when the kids fly the nest, then you have to find yourself again. And I never wanted to be in that position where I'm looking for myself after 18 years or 21 years. I wanted to consistently be who I am, so show up as that person. But I'm very lucky in that way that I have great support in my husband, who, you know, sort of was like, go, I got this.
Yeah.
Like if you need to go for an event, go.
This is an advice to find the right person, because I agree with that.
Yeah, it's so important when you marry, right? And it was always like, you know, I call him, is everything okay? He's like, I'm with them, or I'm with her, or I'm with him, you know.
Yeah.
Relax. And even to a point like 6 weeks after I had my son, I went to the coast to celebrate my birthday. And, he was like, I got it.
Yeah.
So that is what has allowed me to just continuously pour into myself, find myself, and understand my priorities. I for sure will drop everything for my kids, but I also understand that poetry one day in the term when you are working, it balances out because I'm sure there's someone representing you. And, they're not looking for anybody, and there's somebody in the audience who's there who's a familiar face. And if you speak to your kids, you talk to them, mom's got to work and mama's got to do this, they get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you look at your journey and all the different open doors, closed doors, reset seasons, what would you say is a value that has never shifted? Because I truly believe, right, our identity can shift in how our titles are, how people view us. They see us on Instagram feed and they can make assumptions.
Yeah.
But what value has always stayed consistent?
I think it's something my mother, she drilled it in me. She didn't instill it. She's like, it's honesty. She's always told me to be extremely honest. And I feel that, when you're honest, there's nothing that you're afraid of. There's nothing you're afraid of catching up with you in the sense that I'll be there. How can I give you? What's the example? I didn't do the report because I went out with some friends last night. Okay, so you own it. You own your mistake. What can be taken away from you there? Absolutely nothing. Because what can your boss do to you? Fire you? Yeah, you could lose your job, but you've owned your mistake and you've learned a hard lesson from it. But also, I think people appreciate honesty. If instead of you trying to, cover up, I was working late and I couldn't hand in the report. And, that one lie, she always used to say, one lie leads to another.
Yep.
So I'm always as honest as possible.
Yeah. I like that. No, that's definitely what I tell my kids. My kids, it's honesty. And then every morning I tell them, okay, who are the Nuccio kids? What do you need to do today? And they're like, be kind, mama.
Yeah.
I feel like kindness is lost in this world. And,
Totally.
and I know we talked about this, of just like, me especially talking about kind leadership, which I'm excited. I want to talk about your event coming up with, What Women Want. And, I want to know a little bit of the history. So I'm an ideator. So I love when I ideate and I tinker with things and then I see it come to fruition.
Yeah.
So when did that start for you? Like, I want to create this space, and how has it been seeing it grow over the years?
So what happened was because of my media background and because I was, in between jobs, a new mom, whatever, there was a mall who sort of approached me and they're like, could you do conversations, like tea time conversations, mid-morning tea time, and call it Desperate Housewives? And I was so offended by that. I was like, wait, no, we're not desperate. Not all of us are housewives. And, they were like, you can bring women together and talk about makeup. And I'm like, yeah, we like to talk about makeup. There are other things we love to talk about. So I sat with it and then I thought, okay, let me see if I could propose a different name and go from there. So we started weekly conversations at the mall, and we would get all of 5 people sometimes showing up. And sometimes it would just be the crew. So whoever's there, it'd be like, just sit there and we're going to have this conversation. And I never expected it to become what it is today. But I never stopped doing it because I was extremely passionate about it. It was just something that would give me life. Even if there were 3 people in the audience, I would be so thrilled to be able to have that conversation, because I've always found conversations are healing. They're able to change your mind and your perception of life. And if you're ready to learn, then, there's so much you can gather from just having a conversation. And when I saw it grow, so this became a thing. And, before COVID, 300 people were in the room. And I was like, yes, we nailed it. We've hit it. And this is what it's going to become. And then a week later, the president shut everything down.
Yeah.
And I was like, wonderful. So we actually turned it into something like this. It became an online podcast. And we were, engaging with women one-on-one. And as the world opened up again, we started doing smaller events, 15, 20 people, because, there was still the social distancing and all of that. And we were mindful of that. And then in December 2022, it was just like a calling. You got to get more people together. You got to do this and you got to do. And it was like, I would wake up at night and it was just on my chest. It's like, you got to do this. And, so I would listen to my gut and make a call here and speak to someone there. And nobody understood what I was doing. They were like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're
That's the beauty of being a visionary, where people are like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, we'll support you, but what? And, I was like, we'll have many rooms and many conversations and many people and blah, blah, blah. And nobody was like, there was people who was like, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, someone came in and they're like, can we give you $50,000 for this event? And I was like, sure, that would be great. It'll pay for the billboard, because somebody was like, I have a billboard. If you can print, then by all means use it, use the space. So that's how everything came together for the first ever summit, the 3-day summit. And that's when we realized, okay, this is a thing. And it was, just easy. It was very, very casual.
Mm-hmm.
But every year we're trying to make it better, make it more slick, trying to give it a global feel, because we want it to be on the global calendar. We want it to be something that all women from all over the world come to, because why not? And we love it being in Nairobi because it's a Kenyan baby, right?
Yeah.
This is birthed in Kenya, and she belongs to the Kenyan women first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then anyone else after.
I love it. So I always ask, like, what is something you're building right now? Is it just what women want? Are you building other things off of that? Like, are there other things percolating that you can share with us?
Okay, so I will share that. Look, what women want, like I said, it's something that we want to create so that it's a global calendar event. And that means that we will be looking at global speakers to invite to this event in the future. We are also looking at creating more summits, but day summits, not 3 days a lot. Well, we're going to, Selena and I are going to need a holiday after this. But, we've got a health and wellness summit. We've got the skin summit. We've got the build your brand summit. That's all coming up this year. And What Women Want continues to be a place, a safe space for women to have conversations. So we do have our smaller, events that are more intimate and not as huge as the summits. We're also looking at other things. I can't tell you. It's okay. It is right now. But yes, you will hear more.
Okay. So we just everyone has to stay tuned.
Yeah.
I know how, so I'm always dreaming and have visions, and I'm like, but I can't put that into the space yet.
Not yet.
Yes, exactly. I also, with ideas though, this is a little segue off of our theme of reset, but I always tell people to be careful with how you share your ideas.
Totally.
And I would love to hear your opinion on this, because I feel there's sometimes we get really excited and we just want to share. And I always see two sides of this, right? Either you have the yes people, which, okay. And then you have the naysayers, but then it's hard because people can distort your vision of what it originally was at the seed of it. So I always tell people to really hold on to it until you're ready, develop it in a way that is it's your baby, it's sacred,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very much of that opinion as well. Just hold on to it until it's actually happening. But then you can be like, hey, look at this. However, I feel like, when you believe in something so much, it's okay to tell the world about it. As long as you don't listen to the naysay. You have to be so firm in your vision that nothing is going to distract you. Because there are a lot of naysayers. There are also the strategic people. They're not necessarily your haters or the naysayers, but they're just like, nah, it's not going to work. Yeah, they're practical. They're just like, no, when I was yapping about the summit and people were looking at me with, a side eye, of course, there was some people who were like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I'm sure it came from a practical perspective, but once they saw it and understood it, and it's been duplicated and replicated, and people are jumping on this bandwagon. People are like, "Oh, okay, it's something." How But having said that, I think when an idea is birthed in you, it's birthed in other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't act on it, somebody else will.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you do. It's always a risk. There's always risk involved. But I always say walk in faith. You must.
Yeah.
There's a purpose behind the idea and the vision coming to you.
Yeah, I agree. Where have you seen, I mean, there can be multiple answers to this, but where have you seen yourself really, maybe recently or even in the very origin of who Pinky is, like where you've seen yourself be courageous and be like, okay, I'm gonna take this step and this seems insane. And everyone is against it, but I'm gonna do it right now.
Yeah. I've seen it all through me.
Yeah.
But again, I think I credit that to my mother,
Mm-hmm.
who's always sort of been outspoken, doesn't care what society thinks, always very ready to take a leap. There's reward in risk, even in the lessons, if you fail.
Yeah.
So, just weigh it out. It has to make sense for you. There are some things that sometimes you lose a lot.
Yeah.
But I would say that I think if it's strong enough within your heart, do it.
Mm-hmm.
The worst that can happen is that you will learn a lesson.
Yeah, it's true. I was talking to someone about just failure. Now, failure is important for growth, like resiliency, strength. You learn what you want to do, what you don't want to do.
If you don't fail, it means you never tried.
Yeah, exactly. But like that's our typical entrepreneur. I grew up with parents who weren't entrepreneurs, so stepping into that space, they're like, my daughter is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what is she doing? So I'm a very different beast, in my family. But that's awesome. Like I said, I'm really excited for just what you have in the future. I also want us to leave today just for people listening, because again, I think people can look on Instagram, look at the space and be like, oh my gosh, she has all these things going on. And what I hate the most, I think, in spaces is people, this like overnight success, because it doesn't happen overnight. It's very consistent and persistent and deliberate and
boring sometimes.
And sometimes boring. Yes, monotonous in the moments and the steps we have to take. So if you were to give someone advice, maybe they're feeling stagnant, a little overwhelmed, but they know it's okay, I need to kind of shed this skin and reset and step forward. What's some advice you would give them?
I think it's always to step into the discomfort, because discomfort is where we grow. Even when a baby is born, it's through discomfort, a lot of screaming and a lot of pain. So if you are uncomfortable in where you are, lean into that, because that's where you'll discover who you are, how you show up, and what your next phase is going to be. Because, everything is a building block. So the reason you're uncomfortable is you're building yourself. You're getting into the next stage. So really lean into that and be have honest conversations with yourself. What do you want? Who are you? How do you want to show up? Because these are the ways that you will grow.
And lastly, this is my last question.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I know.
That was quick.
I know. That's what we do here at Uncut. And actually, time flies. My last question for you is, when you look at success and the definition of what that is to you, and you look at reset, how has reset played a role in success? So I guess first, how about you define success? Because everyone defines that differently. And then how has reset played a role to where you are today?
So I think success, it's so hard to be able to define it, right? Because like you said, everyone defines it in a different way. And I think we live in a world where we love to compare one another. Exactly. Am I more successful? What makes you more successful. I feel, and I teach this to my kids as well, internal happiness and peace of mind is definitely a sign of success. No matter what you're doing, no matter where you are in your life, if you can go to bed peacefully, unless you're in perimenopause, which I know is a different thing, but if you are at peace, or if you have contentment within your heart, then I feel that you are a successful person, no matter where you are in your life.
Amazing.
Yeah. There was a second part.
Yeah. My second part is, I was like, we can leave it at that.
Yeah, okay. No.
But my second part was, how has those pivots like reset played a role in getting to where you are today?
Okay. So I feel like, honestly, just having conversations with myself, maybe I didn't know that I was resetting. But, I've also had a lot of trauma in my life. So those are moments where I've been forced to reset. And that's another thing. And I say this a lot, that if you don't listen to your body or what the universe is trying to tell you, there will be a forced reset.
It's true.
So you've got to, and that's why that discomfort, lean into it, listen to it, and make it go away by, working through it as opposed to pushing it away.
Yeah. I feel like people can fall on different spectrums of stagnation, or like just, or even
you're complacent, you're just like apathetic to what's going on. No, I feel, I also think that life should be lived on purpose. You should feel everything. So apathy is not an option. When you become apathetic, you really need to go touch grass.
Yeah, because everything does have its frequency and what energy you put out there. So I truly believe in that. And part of reset is just that mental capacity. I think we're our biggest critics, we're our biggest barriers. So getting past that mental block, I think is one of the biggest steps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Pinky, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This has been so much fun.
I am so excited that you just got to sit here, be here today, and that we'll be together soon in a person again.
Yes.
But everybody, this is Moxie Uncut, the reset season, refining, realigning, rebuilding. And as always, friends, Moxie on. Thanks for being here with me on Moxie Uncut. If something stayed with you, please pass it on. These stories are meant to be shared. And if you're in a season of rebuilding or becoming, then just keep going. I'll see you here next week.